Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gridiron Gurus. My name is Luke, and joining me is, as usual,
Ryan Green.
sorry, that was a weird intro, but um, today we're going over the Week 5 slate of the NFL games after I guess I'd say injury-riddled Week 4.
Yes.
I feel like there was a lot of injuries, and we'll get into those as we go through individual matchups. But I talked to you for a second right before this. Tampa Bay versus Atlanta is a Thursday night game. Atlanta again on primetime.
Yes.
I'm kind of over it. It's kind of
And then
annoying.
they're going to be in prime time as well. I think is it the following week? I think they're the or no,
No,
they're
they're
not.
not.
Never mind.
They're at the 3 o'clock game, so they'll be like they'll have one of those like
Yeah.
early games. Yeah, no, they're not on prime time for a minute. But getting into the matchup, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I'm
hmm
going to be taking Tampa Bay. Atlanta's looked solid, I guess, the last 2 weeks. Um, Kirk Cousins looks a little bit better than he did week 1. Is mainly, I guess, what I want to say. Obviously, you have the whole Kyle Pitts stuff going on. I think at this point, Kyle Pitts is just not that good. That might be, it might be, oh, everyone like sees, oh, we had a really good rookie season. There are also just like were plays that I thought he should make and he just didn't
Yeah.
make. And it's just like, I think at this point, maybe it's not, oh, they're not utilizing Kyle Pitts. It might just be he needs a change of scenery because he's not that good. That might be the like plain and simple of it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be taking Tampa Bay. I liked what I've seen from them outside of the Denver game. Obviously, last week they pretty much dominated the Eagles. I know the Eagles kind of got in it a little bit
From the
late,
jump too.
but they dominated the Eagles, and this is just a good team. They're obviously good on defense with Todd Bowles. The offense is playing good under Baker Mayfield. I like Bucky Irving a lot. He's a lot better than Rashad White. Rashad White is kind of just like a volume guy. You got to give him tons of volume for him to be good. And Irving looks a lot more explosive. So I like this offense. I think Atlanta is going to keep it competitive, but I just think Tampa Bay is better. And I think Tampa Bay is going to be the team that wins the division. So I'm going to pick them to win this game.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is very solid. Obviously, the injuries was really something that happened not this past week, the week before when they lost to the Broncos was very, very beneficial for when Bo Nix played. Getting some of the people back, obviously, you had a bad game, you bounced back against the Eagles. I think it's going to continue. I'm going to pick the Pit Bucks as well. Also, I went to the Falcons Saints game, and the Falcons got kind of lucky. They got a touchdown off of a muff punt, and they got a touchdown off of a pick six off of a tip. So you didn't have any touchdowns from the offense at all. And you had like I said, you had a decent day from Kirk Cousins, but it wasn't anything really to write home about. So I'm still concerned. I still have concerns about the Falcons. Obviously, I thought they were gonna start off the season slow, and I kind of figured the Bucks are gonna be a very solid team throughout. So Bucks started the season 4-1 and in the driver's seat for the division.
Yeah. Then we head to I guess there's the London game this week.
Yes, there is.
8:30 in the morning. Love
I'll
that.
be streaming it. I'll be streaming it.
New York Jets. Right, it's at Minnesota. I don't know what it says that on the schedule. But New York versus Minnesota in London. Who do you have in this one? I know who you're taking, but
I don't think you do. So I'm going against the grain, and I'm going to go with the Jets. I don't know why, but I just feel like this secondary is going to cause problems for a very, very good passing attack by the Vikings. I'm kind of hoping that Quincy Williams has a really good game as far as getting interior pressure. I'm interested to see how Quincy Williams does against Aaron Jones. That's going to be a very important matchup. But Aaron Rodgers against the Brian Flores defense that usually predicates off of going blitzing and blitzing from all places and kind of disguising the schemes. I'm trying to go with Aaron Rodgers here, and I'm just going to assume that they can make it work and that Garrett Wilson can be able to cook a very suspect secondary. Obviously, like the game was pretty much over for the Packers when they came back. But they were able to throw the ball pretty efficiently, like all over the secondary. So I know I'm kind of going against the grain. I think most people are going to go with the Vikings, but I'm going with the Jets here. I'm not very confident in it, but it's one of those things that I think that I don't think the Vikings are going to continue on this undefeated streak. So I think they're going to get their loss in London.
I'm gonna not take. I'm just gonna keep taking the Vikings because they keep proving me wrong, and they're a good team. And like I get what you're saying with Aaron Rodgers. You know, he's a veteran quarterback. He's one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league and of all time. However, he doesn't move great, and I feel like they're going to key on that, and they might, you know, try and make him move off the spot, and he's not really going to be able to do that. And I don't think they have enough weapons. Really, is the thing for me. I think Minnesota's going to be able to stop the run, and because they've done a good job of that, and then it's going to be all on pretty much Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, and Garrett Wilson hasn't been that good this year. Truthfully, he's been very underwhelming. Um, but I think Minnesota, and also this the Jets defense has been good, but it hasn't been as good as I thought it would be. And hey, the Vikings offense is humming, so I'm going to be taking them to win this game. And then we have the battle of it would have been battle of number one picks,
Yep.
but it's not anymore. It's battle of Caleb Williams, and then you've got Andy Dalton. Carolina at
Former Bear,
Chicago.
former Bear. So
Yeah,
it is a revenge game.
it. Yeah, but it's not really a revenge game.
Not really, but yeah.
His last week was his revenge game. So for this one, I'm gonna take Chicago to win. I think their defense is better, and I think that it's gonna be a competitive game. And honestly, this is a really
Mhm.
tough one to pick because I just don't think either of these teams are that good. Um, but I think the Bears have a good enough defense. I do still really worry about the Panthers defense, and they had a good week running the ball last week for Chicago. So I think that maybe they'll be able to carry that through and kind of rely on the run game. And Caleb Williams can do good enough against a kind of banged up secondary.
I agree. Well, we don't have a really a banged up secondary. We have a banged up front four
Well,
or
yeah, but then
front
also just
seven.
uh,
Uh,
secondary is missing like all of your good players from last year, pretty much.
no, we're not. We
You're
return
missing your safety. You're missing Jeremy
we
Chin.
missed no, okay.
Frankie Louvu is not your
Jeremy
secondary.
Chin was barely on the field as it was last year. We lost Von Bell. We replaced him with Jordan Fuller, but Xavier Woods is still there. We're actually playing J.C. Horn, who is actually healthy. Surprisingly, we have Derek Brown and Shaq Thompson that are out for the season. But not Jeremy Chin, but J.C. Horn is healthy. So there that's irony for you. But yeah, no, like our secondary is not necessarily the problem. It's more so that we can't stop the run. And I agree that if the Bears continue with that, I'm going to pick them to win, mainly because I don't want to pick for my team and jinx it, kind of like what you did with the Texans last year. But I do think it's going to be a really close game because we also can run the ball, and our offensive line has, especially our interior, has played so well. I was really concerned with Jones Zavala this past game, and he did pretty good. Obviously, like the Bengals will have a good defense tackles, um, and I don't really think that. I think the Bears have better defense tackles, obviously, but they're not like we're going against Quentin Williams or we're going against like Chris Jones kind of ordeal. So I think we're going to be able to run the ball. And if Andy Dalton can, keep it up at about like that 200 yards, two touchdowns ish, like, like a really decent, really good game, I think we have a shot. But I'm going to go with the Bears. I think they'll probably get like a turnover, set up Caleb Williams with a good field position. They get a lead. And unfortunately, we can't come back for that. But I'm just happy with competent football. And that's what we've seen so far these past 2 weeks. So Bears win, but it's going to be close.
Next we have Baltimore at Cincinnati. Who do you have in this one?
Baltimore versus Cincinnati. I was in between both of these. Obviously, Cincinnati gets their first win, but I ultimately went with the Ravens mainly because they're going on. They're a little bit of a hot streak right now. Obviously blowing out the Bills. I mean, if they just run the ball, I think they're fine because like Falalele, and pass coverage is absolutely cheeks, but in the run game he's fine. So just keep running the ball. You got Derrick Henry. Let him rush for what I think they average like 220 a game. They should be able to run all over the Bengals because they have a terrible run defense.
Yeah, I'm in the same vein. Derrick Henry's like gone. His yards have gone up every single game so far. The Ravens are just running the ball pretty much. I mean, they faced the Cowboys who can't stop the run, and obviously the Bills lost. Who'd they lose? They lost to the Chargers. Their big defense tackle. I don't remember, but like their best run stuffing defensive tackle they lost. He's at the Chargers now. I know who I'm thinking of. I just can't
Oh,
remember him, and he's doing really good with the Chargers. He's just like a
Daquan
run stuff.
Jones.
No, maybe it was. I don't remember.
He was at the Panther for a little bit.
But they they kind of got ran on. Obviously, no, I'm thinking of the Bills. I'm stupid. Cincinnati's been run on all year, but so I don't really think that's going to change here against Baltimore. I think that Baltimore is going to have Lamar Jackson running the ball. I think they're going to have Derrick Henry running the ball. Their offensive line isn't great pass protection, but they're better in run blocking. Maybe this is the game where Mark Andrews kind of gets going. I still don't really see it. Baltimore has a good secondary. They have a really good defense. I trust them to get more stops, and I trust the Bengals too. And I think that the Baltimore's going to be able to play ball control and just keep the ball away from Joe Burrow. So I'm taking Baltimore to win. Then we have God, this game's so bad. Miami, Miami at New England.
Dude, I was in between both. Do you want me to start? Or you want to start?
I'm gonna just take it real fast. I'm taking New England. I'm taking home field on this because Miami looks like legitimately the worst team in the league. They have the worst offense in the league, which is crazy to say for a team that has Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane. The offensive line is pitiful.
It is absolute buns.
And I don't know how you walk into the. They had a chance to draft what's his name, the Buccaneers center. They drafted.
Graham Barton. They took Chop Robinson. We both said it on draft night,
and we both were like, "Oh, they're going to take." We said, "Hey, they have Graham Barton's fallen into their laps." And then they take Chop Robinson, who they don't even need edge rusher. They have Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, and now their offensive line is terrible. It is awful.
Bradley Chubb was still recovering from injury, but still,
I don't care. He's going to be back.
Yeah, you didn't need him.
He's going to be back. You didn't need him. You don't need a first-round pick for half a season. And I get what you see in Chop Robinson, but it was just your offensive line was so bad. And I know they took Patrick Paul later. You should have taken offensive line in the first round, offensive line in the second round, offensive line in the third round, offensive line in the fourth round, offensive line. All 7 rounds should have been offensive line because Tua has an injury problem.
You lost Connor Williams.
You lost Connor Williams. You lost Robert Hunt.
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah. So now you can't run the ball. So you can't run the ball. Tua's hurt, and obviously people who were saying, "Oh, Tua's a system quarterback," they look stupid now. Yes. And it's just
Tua is the system.
This team is so bad. I'm just not ever going to pick the Dolphins until week 8 when Tua comes back, and even then I might not pick them. And I don't really care. I'm not going to talk about New England. They're not that good either.
Their defense is good, and that's about it.
They're better than Miami, and they have home field advantage.
I'm going to take home field advantage. I'm going to take the fact that they're probably going to pick 6. I feel they're going to get a turnover for a touchdown, more than likely. There's a reason why I did not stream the Titans-Dolphins game because I knew it was going to be terrible. And I feel bad for Dolphins fans because almost like kicking it down the road, just like, oh crap, now we're in the hole. Our only win is against the 0-4 Jaguars, and we had to come back and win against that one. It just doesn't look good. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Patriots. And who knew that after 5 weeks, the Dolphins are probably gonna be the last in the division.
Hey, on the bright side though, it's a very good tackle class, very good offensive line class. So at least there you can take some solace in that. If you get a top 10 pick, you'll be able to double up. You can take a good offensive tackle in the first round and then one of the really good interior offensive linemen in the second round. You better do that. If they don't take it, then I'm just going to be out on the Dolphins until they address offensive line. But going on to Cleveland at Washington, you have bad offensive team versus maybe the hottest team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you take in this one? I mean, I know we're both
okay. So I am very conflicted because if precedent shows, whenever Brett Coleman makes a video,
Von Miller just got suspended.
He got suspended for what?
4 games.
For what?
For personal conduct policy.
Okay, that's not good. Back to what I was saying. Based on Brett video, on when Brett Coleman makes a video, it's usually the Brett Coleman curse. So part of me wants to go against the Commanders. but I just can't pick the Browns. I'm sorry. I'm going to go with the Commanders, man, because I think that their offense is still going to be good against a Browns defense that's very much has regressed. Um, and going against an offense that, even though your defense isn't that good, I think that you could probably get some turnovers on Deshaun Watson, especially with a very bad offensive line in front of him. So I'm going to go with Commanders, but part of me is thinking I should go just with the Browns just based off of precedent. But I'm
I'm
going to go with
taking
the
the
Commanders.
Commanders too because they've been maybe the best team in the league the last 3 weeks. Certainly the best offense in the league the last 3 weeks. Um, and I'm just going to keep taking them to roll. I think this game's going to be closer because Washington has a really bad offensive line, but they've done a really good job of masking it. Really good stuff in the quick game. So I'm just going to take Washington to keep rolling here. I mean, I don't trust if this game gets into the 20s. I don't trust Cleveland to stay in it. So
No.
I'm going to take Washington, and I feel pretty confident about it. I know some weird stuff is going to happen now, obviously, but I think Washington should have this game, and that would put them at what 4-1.
4-1 and easily top of the division.
And hey, they might be the best team in the division right now.
Yep. Which is
So
crazy. I mean, they were my wild cards to start the year, but I still were low on them, so should have bought higher.
yeah, now we have the Colts going to Jacksonville. I don't know if Anthony Richardson's playing.
I
I
think it's
also
like
don't know
it's
if
quite
Jonathan
questionable right
Taylor's
now.
playing.
Yeah.
Both of them are questionable to play in this game. Jacksonville is 0-4.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they go 0-5, I feel like they're going to fire Peterson.
Peter. Yeah.
So a part of me wants to say, okay, like I don't want the Jags to be good. So like I want them to win this game because I want them to somehow win a couple more games, keep Peterson around, and keep sucking. But I also want them to win this game because I want the Colts to be 2 games back of us in the division. I'm going to take Jacksonville to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I know Flacco might be starting, which honestly might be a good thing for the Colts based on how they've thrown. But I think no John. If I don't think Jonathan Taylor's going to play
Mm-hmm.
this week. I think he'll be fine in the future. I think they might just hold him out for a week. And so I really struggle to see the run game being super good because Sermon's not that good. And I do like this defensive line for Jacksonville. I think their offense is going to do just enough, and they'll squeak out a win. They are favored in this game. I
Mm-hmm.
know it's at home, so I don't know. This game
I
is
think
really
it's
hard for me to pick. I'm just going to take
yeah.
Jacksonville.
I think it's also off of precedent that the Colts just don't win in Jacksonville. It's one of those things that's kind of weird. Um, it's been going on for a couple years now. But I'm going to go with the Colts. I honestly believe that I think Joe Flacco is going to start, and I think that him, kind of coming in, veteran presence, also not throwing as many interceptions as Anthony Richardson would be doing, is going to give the Colts defense at least a little bit of a rest. Obviously, not having Jonathan Taylor is going to be a big problem, but I'm hopeful with all the weapons that the Colts have, they can kind of squeak this one out. Obviously, sit Anthony Richardson to make sure that he's okay, and then also sit Jonathan Taylor, and then move on. 0-5 Jacksonville is like I said, that part of me wants to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't want to see anyone that's 0-5, but it's potentially going to happen. So I'm going to go with the Colts.
Then our final noon game is Buffalo going to Houston to play my Texans. You start on this one because I mean I know who I'm picking, but
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured who you're going to pick, but obviously a very sloppy game for the Titans last week. You
Texans.
squeak out, the Texans. Yeah, sorry. You squeak out and you get the win, but obviously you don't feel good about it. With Joe Mixon being out, that definitely hurt. But you're going against a Bills team. They got thoroughly embarrassed on national television, and this is a very talented Bills team. I'm going to go with the Bills. I think it's going to be a very back and forth game. I think it's going to be really good. CJ Stroud versus Josh Allen kind of duel, but I feel like Buffalo is kind of a team that, like, if they get smacked in the mouth, they're going to respond the next week. So it kind of sucks for for the Texans that you're the next opponent. So I'm going to go with the Bills with the bounce back.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bills too, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
Oh,
I'm thinking Bills win by 14 to 17 points.
would you like
I
to
am,
elaborate?
yeah, I'm out on the Texans. I don't think they're a very good team. I'm being totally honest. I don't think they're a very good team. They're not coached well. Um, the offensive game plan is really bad week after week. The offensive line is a huge problem, and they've invested a lot in the offensive line. Kenyon Green is maybe the worst starting offensive lineman in the league. He's had no, like he had a good first week. But he's been the lowest graded offensive lineman in the last 3 weeks. Um, and he's bad. Shaq Mason's having a down year. Actually, we don't get much production from the center spots. Now, Titus Howard's solid, and Tunsil's good when he's not committing a penalty, which at this rate is not very often. Um, like he's either holding, he's either getting an illegal formation, he's either false starting. He's got 12 penalties on the year. I think it's 12. 12 on the year. And he's got like 7 in the last 2 weeks.
But
And
like
this
he
team
does
is
that though. That's what's crazy is that it's
he's like a
consistently.
9-year veteran. He's a 9-year
Yeah.
veteran. It's I'm tired of it. I want to trade to Laramie Tunsil. I don't care how good he is. He sets us back and kills drives over and over and over, and he negates so many big plays against the Vikings. We would have been in the Vikings game. He negated like 4 drives. There was like a 30-yard catch to Tank Dell that he just negated. Like last week, we had like every week it's like 15 penalties. It's terrible. And the defense isn't bad. I don't think they utilize their players correctly. Um, but the defense also is on the field for a lot of the time because the offense can't sustain drives. The offense either scores in 5 plays or they just go 3 and out because Bobby Slowick doesn't know how to run an offensive system in the second half. And he's like, oh man, in the first half, he goes, oh, I have 3 really good receivers and a good tight end. Let me throw the ball. And then the second half, he's like, hold on. I have Cam Akers at running back who's averaging 1.2 yards a carry behind a really bad offensive line. Let's run the ball on first and second down. Oh, it's 3rd and 12. Throw a screen pass. Oh, 3 and out. Next play. Okay, let's run a screen pass on first down. We got 2 yards. Okay, run the ball the next 2 times. Oh, all right, 3 and out. It's just if a team hires Bobby Slowick away from us, I will be ecstatic. I will throw a party. I will pay for
Who
his
okay.
plane ticket.
He's gonna be more happy? You or the Seattle Seahawks getting rid of Shane Waldron?
We'll have a competition. I mean, I'm the Texans team. I'm out on them. I don't think they're going to do anything this year. Anytime they play a legitimate team, I think they're going to get their doors blown off, and like they did against the Vikings. I think they play a good team. They're just going to expose how undisciplined and like poorly coached this team is, and they're just going to blow them out. So that's my rant on Houston. I'm looking
Good.
forward to the offseason. Um, like we'll
At
still
three
we'll
at
win.
3-1, 3-1,
We'll
you're
win the
already rich.
division. We'll win the division, but we won't do anything in the playoffs. I've kind of like accepted that. This is not a team as sad as it is. Like with the amount of talent we have on offense, it's bad offensive coaching. The offensive line, they need to fire the offensive line coach and just draft offensive line. I know we have holes on defense too, but hopefully D'Amico Ryans can fix his scheme next year. But I'm taking Buffalo to win. I'm taking them to win by 14 to 17 points. And now that my rant is over, we can go to the afternoon slate of games.
Yes.
Vegas at Denver.
Hmm.
I've been talking for a while, so you talk.
Oh well. If I'm be honest, I'm gonna go off president here. Obviously, the past 2 weeks, the Broncos have won. But I'm not confident in the Broncos team. I'm not really confident in the Raiders team. But considering that the streak is going to continue with the Raiders beating the Broncos, I'm going to go with them. Obviously, there's the report that Devontae Adams requested a trade. So that's a little bit interesting. But I think that the front, especially Max Crosby and Wilkins, are going to be able to eat on this Broncos offensive line that has some weaknesses, obviously, and then also going against Bo Nix, who hasn't had very much a signature game outside of the Bucks game where it was against a very injury ridden defense. So I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I think it's gonna be an ugly game, but that's how they win.
Yeah, I'm going with the Raiders too. Max Crosby was out last week, um, and obviously Devontae Adams was out last week too. The offense is okay enough. Denver's looked better the last 2 weeks. I think they've won 2 games in a row. Obviously, I have a really tough time picking this game,
It's gonna be
and
a defensive
I
struggle.
might switch on this game later down the line, but I'm gonna go with Denver.
Mm,
I think they're gonna keep this win streak going. I think Bo Nix is playing a little bit better football. Last week was obviously just a defensive thing. But I don't know. I just have a feeling that Denver's going to win. I'll probably switch on this pick later down the line. But as of right now, I have a feeling Denver's going to win. So that takes us then to Arizona at San Francisco.
yep.
This one shouldn't be that crazy. Taking San Fran. The Cardinals have not looked very good the last 2-3 weeks. Um, so I think San Fran has looked pretty solid outside of that Vikings game. They're healthier now. They obviously have not Christian McCaffrey, but they were missing
Mm.
Debo and Kittle and Trent Williams, I think, like 2 weeks ago, and they had most of them play last week. So the offense should be a lot better. So I'm going to take San Fran against a Cardinals team that I thought would be a lot more competitive and a lot better than they've played so far.
You could definitely tell they still need another draft class. They still need another free agency class.
Yeah.
Their front seven just cannot or have any kind of run defense. So I'm honestly gonna take just Jordan Mason's gonna have like 150 yards rushing, which I'm glad I got him on my fantasy team. But I'm taking the 49ers as well. I think they're
Maybe you'll
gonna be
get a
able to
win.
control the game. Huh?
Maybe you'll get a win.
Maybe. If I went into a whole another rant about
You know,
fantasy
Ryan, that
football.
I'm like in the same boat as you are, right? I haven't had a team score under 116.
Yeah. It's
And
so
I'm
it's so
yeah,
wild that both
I'm
of
a
us
3
have
and
had
1.
we drafted really well, and now each time we go against an opponent that nine of the other 12 teams we outscore,
Except for the
and then but
one
with me
week
I lose. Yeah,
you
I
faced me the
lose.
one week that I go off for like 180, but I
Yeah,
haven't faced a team either that's gone under 116 points. And my only loss was when I was the number 2 scorer and you were the and my opponent was number 1.
yeah.
So but
Fantasy is wild, but
yeah.
yeah, like I said, I think the Cardinals aren't gonna be able to stop the 49ers. So 49ers dominate the game and win pretty easily.
And then we have Green Bay at the Rams.
Hmm.
You go first on this one because this is a very weird game for me to pick.
Yeah, I am okay. I'm very intrigued because obviously, like the Rams are just injured, like just so injured. But the Packers team coming back, Jordan Love, they almost come back against the Vikings. Um, I'm gonna go with the Packers mainly because I feel like Packers defense is very opportunistic. This is very injury ridden defense and offense. So I think it's gonna be a close game, mainly because of the fact that Sean McVay, obviously a really great coach. I think he's gonna be able to find a way to make it close. But I think because of all those injuries, they're gonna continue to slide, and I'm going with the Packers to make it 3-2.
Yeah, I'm going with the Packers too. It's just hard. The Rams have such a like only have like one way they can win. And it's like they have to just like control the clock. They have to run the ball because they don't have these weapons on the outside. And the Rams will be better later in the season when they get Nakua and they get cut back and they can
Yeah,
actually like have weapons on the outside. And then I expect we see that version of the team that we thought. Now the defense isn't probably going to improve anytime soon. It's young, so they'll have a little bit of improvement there. But I don't really see the secondary getting much better this year. The front is very young, and they definitely miss Aaron Donald. This game will probably be close because Sean McVay is a really good coach. I think Kyron Williams will still have a good day, but I don't think that Jordan Love's going to look like Brett Favre this week. I think he's just going to kind of be like have a lot less interceptions. So I'm going to take Green Bay in a close game, probably like a field goal or so.
if they can
But
make the field goal.
yeah, that is. And then our final 3 o'clock game or 3:25 game is the Giants at Seattle. This is coming off where Seattle played, put all the offenses dead naysayers kind of to rest in the game last night that happened. Uh, I'm taking Seattle. They look good this year, and I know that they got
They
like
have,
their offense got or the defense got kind of ran all over by the Lions offense, but like this is a Lions offense that we expected to do to everybody, and that was the
and
kind of
yes,
Lions offense we
you're
expected.
missing two of your top
Yeah,
interior defensive linemen, so like it's gonna happen.
yeah, but like
The
now they're
Giants don't
healthy.
have that.
They have healthy Kenneth Walker back, and he looked awesome last
Mm,
night. But now that you have like you can run the ball with Kay Walker, Geno Smith is playing some of probably the best football of his career. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You got DK Metcalf. You got Tyler Lockett. Good play calling. So like this offense is going to be really good. And New York has stayed scrappy. Now I don't know if Malik Neighbors is playing this week because he had that concussion scare and he's
yeah.
questionable. But even if he does play and he's 100%, I still don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. It's at Seattle, so it's going to be allowed to. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to win.
I'm taking the Seahawks as well. Obviously, like I said, their offense is really staying good. I think that DK Metcalf is going to absolutely embarrass Deontay Banks on national television, as Deontay Banks has been embarrassed the last couple of weeks. Um, I was never a big fan of the Giants team, and I think it's kind of being proven that it's like Malik Neighbors and Wanda Robinson are nothing on offense because like you're not really going to get anything great out of Daniel Jones. Devin Singletary is all right, but it's not like you have the best offensive line in front of them. So I think that Seattle's gonna they're gonna dominate in the front. I think Derek Hall is gonna have a really great game. He had a pretty decent game.
He's been good
Um,
this year.
he's been really good his second year. So I think it's going to continue to this game. I think Seattle wins pretty handily, and Geno Smith gets himself a revenge win. Obviously, yes, he went to the Jets, but he's also the Giants for a little bit there. He's the one who broke, if you remember, he's the one who broke Eli Manning's starting streak.
Star Street,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
And then we have the primetime game. Man, I really wish they flexed these primetime games.
they
Dallas
can't
at
early in the
Pittsburgh.
season, but yeah.
Dallas at Pittsburgh.
Uh,
Um, I'm gonna take Pittsburgh because I don't
yeah,
like what I've seen from Dallas, and the Dallas, the way that Pittsburgh wins does not line up good for Dallas. They're gonna
no,
run the
yes.
ball with Justin Fields, Najee Harris. Now the offensive line is hurt for the
Hmm.
Steelers a bit, but I just don't think it lines up really well for Dallas. And the defense is so good for Pittsburgh, and the offense has been very underwhelming for the Cowboys. And it's like I just like you only have really CD Lamb and Jake Ferguson,
Hmm.
and they're gonna be able to take it away. Like
Patrick Queen on Ferguson, and they're probably going to double up CeeDee Lamb all night, and he's going to get
yeah,
frustrated, and it's going to make this the whole thing worse. And
because you
then
can't run. They cannot run the ball. They
no,
cannot run the ball.
and then isn't like Micah Parsons like questionable?
Yeah, he left last game
Yeah,
with a
and
that Thursday night game.
yeah, because I'm trying to think. Like I thought I saw that, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm definitely taking Steelers now. Because like if anything, I could be like, well, the Steelers, like Broderick Jones, maybe like I was like, maybe Micah Parsons might be able to wreak havoc. He's got the speed to catch up with Justin Fields, but just I'm not high on the Cowboys anymore. I was in the beginning of the season. I was like, well, maybe they can still you know have enough talent to make them have a pretty good season in the regular season and then fall apart in the playoffs. But it's just bad. It's just us all around bad. If I'm the Dallas, I'm looking at this stacked
And
wide receiver.
their schedule does not loosen up.
No,
They got Lions next week, Niners on prime time, Eagles, Texans, Bengals, Bucks, Eagles
yep.
again, obviously, and then Commanders. That, whew, like the
That's the
only
thing. Like,
really easy games they have are Falcons, Giants, Panthers. Because if you got the Commanders twice, they don't look like easy.
yeah,
I mean,
it depends on what.
even the Falcons give you a run for your money. The way the Panthers look, they can give you a run for your money.
Yeah, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm looking to try to trade for another wide receiver because you can't do it with just CeeDee Lamb.
Devontae
This
Adams,
shows
but
could.
they shouldn't trade for anybody. They should just keep their picks and just hope to have a top 15 pick and
It's
see what that's
Jerry,
what.
so who knows?
They
Who
have a
knows? He might
lot
get.
of holes on this team.
Yes, they do. So
Interior defensive line, other they need running back, they need wideouts, they need linebacker. Um,
Desperately
so
need a linebacker.
yeah, so
Well,
it's
no,
just
well, I'll say this: Overshown has played really well. Overshown has played really well. He's a little bit smaller. He's more of a coverage linebacker, but he played
they need
really
a
good last
thumper.
game. Yeah, he's not a thumper, so you need to get that kind of guy. But yes, I'm taking Steelers. So let's move on to the Monday night game.
Yeah,
Chiefs
New
at
Orleans at Chiefs.
New Orleans at Chiefs. I'm I'm thinking it's gonna be a lower scoring game. I think New Orleans obviously the first 2 weeks had an amazing offense. Obviously, week 3 they make a lot of mistakes against that game in Philly, and then last week they played decently. Taysom Hill gets himself 2 touchdowns, but they just can't do enough to win. And there starts to be a little more. There starts to be a little bit of doubt, and I'm hearing from the New Orleans of like, was the first 2 weeks kind of a fluke, or are we just we're just still the same kind of good to average kind of Saints. I think it's going to be close. I think that it's going to be Chiefs win 20-17. I think that their defense, especially Chris Jones, is going to wreak havoc on a offensive line that's desperately missing their center, um, Eric McCoy. I think the fact that you've got also a really good offensive line for the Chiefs. That if you're able to somewhat kind of run the ball, um, and take the pressure off of Patrick Mahomes, where he's not going to have that many weapons outside of Travis Kelsey and Xavier Worthy. Like I said, I think it's going to be a close game. I'm putting it 2017 because I think that Harrison Bucker is going to end up being the winner of the game. So 2017, what do you got for the Monday Night Football game?
I'm taking the Saints.
Nice.
Um, I don't trust this Chiefs offense at all. No Rasheed Rice, and he was just getting fed over
Mhm.
and over and over. And you're hoping that it's not an ACL tear for him. You're hoping maybe he can come back around like week 14. Which there's been some stuff that said maybe it's not an ACL tear.
It was
Maybe
inconclusive, is what the first test
maybe it's
was.
like a really bad hyperextension. Is like what I've seen some people maybe say, which they're probably going to put him on. They're going to put him on IR regardless. But I think best case is he's back maybe week 14, 13. Um, Obviously the Chiefs should be able to tread water without him. I just really worry that this week they're against a very good Saints defense. A Saints defense that did let up a touchdown last week, like you said. It wasn't their fault that they lost the game. It was, a pick six and a muff punt. And then they got a PI call that put the Falcons in field goal range. I just worry about the Chiefs being able to score. Like no, like if they had Pacheco, I might change the difference. But like Kareem Hunt's your RB1 in the year of 2024. I don't know. I think that I'm gonna go with the healthier team,
Mhm.
and both these teams have really good defenses. And I'm just gonna take Derek Carr to win 16-13.
Mm, I
And
like
it's
that.
gonna be low. It's gonna be low scoring. If this
Yeah.
game is high scoring, I will be really surprised.
If it's
Uh,
high scoring, that means that like someone outside of Xavier Worthy is going off for the Chiefs, and then Rashid Shaheed is just burning this Chiefs secondary.
Chiefs have I don't know. The Chiefs are a good team. But they have a lot more holes than I think a lot of people give them credit
Yeah.
for. But um, I don't know. This is a good week of NFL slate. It's obviously the first round of bye weeks. So we got I think 4 teams on bye.
Hmm.
But yeah, you got Detroit, Tennessee, Philly, and the Chargers all on bye. So like some good teams there. So obviously buys will start happening now. So the slate gets a little smaller by like 2 or 3 games every single week. But it's a good week. But I think that's all we have for this week. We'll be back around this time next week with our week 6 predictions. And do you have anything to add, Ryan?
Um, I just hope I don't lose again in fantasy. That's all I gotta say. If my opponent scores 120 again, I'm gonna lose it. That's
You're
all
going
I
to
gotta
because
say.
you're playing a guy who has the worst offense in the league, and he's going to still go for 120. So,
Yeah, it's
but
fantasy.
yeah, that's all we have for you. And thank you for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.